Hello everybody and welcome back to Cities Skylines 2, where we are currently expanding out over this way, and as a word of warning, I am currently experiencing a 101 degree fever, so I might be mildly loopy today, and next episode will likely be impacted as well. I'm planning on recording both today because my family members have had this flu before I got it, and it really knocked them out. So I'm planning on recording ahead in hopes that you guys don't get any disruption. So that's the idea here. We'll see how that ends up going. For now, I just want to extend these roads straight on out to the edge of the city limits here. So that'll be absolutely great. We'll just move that right on through here, and we'll position that about... Ooh, this looks very wrong. Very wrong indeed. Okay. I think that was not snapped to geometry correctly. Yeah, that has quite an angle to it. It should be around here. Okay, let's see what happens if we get rid of this section of road. And we bring this guy straight out. Now that's still quite a thing. Okay, so what we need to do then is bring this guy up 112 meters on exactly 90 degrees like this. And then bring this in out over here and build it from this direction and correct it out over this way. So it would be something along the lines of this. I want to make sure that this is snapping only to angle here, so it would be like that. And then this intersection is going to be a little bit skewed, but I mean, ultimately that's just kind of gonna happen, right? So that's reasonably fine. Now we don't actually want this vertical street here. But beyond that, that'll be okay. Now, one thing we could think about doing is just doing that all the way along here. Because we're probably going to have some angle issues if we don't. So what that would end up meaning is we would extend this guy up over here to 112. That was not at a 90 degree angle. Hang on, get out of here. There we go. We would extend this guy up to 112 at a 90 degree angle, like that. And then we would bring that in over here. So I would want this to snap only to that angle. And yeah, we can see that this is definitely going to be a little bit wonky over on this road. That's not shocking. That's not shocking at all. So yeah, this road here is definitely wonky. And this all comes down to the fact that I didn't understand when we were building these sections, or these sections over here necessarily. I didn't understand exactly how the snapping works. And now that I understand that, it's janky. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of janky. So that is, I guess, okay for the moment. But what we need to do then is we're gonna have to go through and do every single one of these like that. So this guy would need to go here. And then we would snap like this, except that this one doesn't actually go here. So we need to just move this up another 112 to here, and then this would come in over here. And we can see we're pretty far off at this point. So I'm going to remove these sections of road all the way up through here, and this is going to create some very sad people indeed. But that's okay. Specifically, the people who live in these houses are who's going to be sad. But that is absolutely fine. So we're going to get rid of those for the time being. And at this point, we can bring this section of road in. And we can see that's at a 90 degree angle. I want this to be snapped just to the angle. And yeah, this ends up going like down here, right? So we would have to correct it right over this way if we didn't want to have to rebuild the whole thing. And we don't want to. So that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to go through and rebuild the entire city. That's not going to be a thing. We've learned our lesson, and now we know how the snapping works. So we can just make our way in. Actually, this one's pretty good. That one's almost correct. So I guess periodically we're just going to have one of these big corrections, and that's reasonably fine. I'm not too concerned about that. We're going to need to bring this guy up to here and snap it only to the angle. But yeah, the reason why this is the way it is because I just didn't understand that the snapping up over this direction appears to override snapping to the 90 degree angle. So that is what ended up happening there. So we ended up with things at wonky angles. That's absolutely okay. It is not going to be a huge issue for us. We can work around it. And we now know it for the future. So that's okay. Things are just going to be wonky on this road. But that's fine. We could maybe redo the road or the connections going into the road. We'll see if that ends up feeling necessary. This one, of course, does not need to go over. That's a highway. So this goes up to 112, and we'll bring this guy right on over at this 90-degree marker. That one's pretty close. It's not perfect, but it is pretty close. Okay, so that's all reasonably fine here. We'll bring this up and bring this over to about here. That's pretty close as well. It's not perfect, and we don't expect it to be. This is actually going better than I expected that it would in terms of how close we are for a lot of these.
That was truly superb.
So that's actually pretty decent.
You're listening to Second Moon
So we'll bring
Radio.
this up to 112 and snap only to angle. Then we'll bring this right on in over here. Once again, this is not too far out. So that's absolutely great. The next one, of course, is going to be a highway. So we'll bring this up to 112 and then bring it up to 112 again. And then snap only to angle. And this one's going to be pretty far off. Okay. So that's, of course, mildly problematic. No doubt about that. That was pretty far off. And I'm wondering, this highway appears to be at a pretty jaunty angle. We might end up having to redo the Cypress Highway. But for now, I'm not too concerned about that. For now, all I want to do is get these main, like, residential streets completed.
I like the sound of that.
So we're going to bring this on over here. Once again, this is pretty far off, and that's probably going to be the case all the way through here. So we're going to have to do some fixing of that, I think. This is kind of unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. So that will definitely be a very concerning thing. We'll need to get that rebuilt. The question is, are we going to rebuild this entire section down over here? Now, these over here are actually, I mean, these are a little terrible, but they're not nearly as bad as what we've got going on up over here. That's for sure. So we've got one more of these that we can extend northward up to 112 here. That'll do. And then we'll bring this guy right on in, and 90 degrees is here. Okay. Again, with the awkward over here. But that's okay. I do think that this highway probably needs to get redone. In fact, odds are very good that it does, if we care. That is a question that needs to be asked. No doubt about that. So let's continue to bring this up. But now that we know exactly how the snapping works, if we were to do another grid city like this, which is unlikely, we'll probably try to do something different. Yeah, we need to go up further here. If we were to try to do it again, we wouldn't have these problems, because we would be able to ensure that this, you know, was correct. At this point, it's not. But honestly, I'm not sure I care that much. So it's reasonably fine. So we need to bring up this road further over here. That's going to go to about here. There we go. And then we'll bring it in over this way, and we'll just terminate it about here. That's all the further that one needs to go. And honestly, having the, what is that, a university there is actually kind of handy for this particular situation, because now we don't actually care that these don't match up. They're not, I mean, looking at it, I can visually tell that they don't match up, but we don't actually care all that much because they've got that fancy university there. So that's absolutely fine. Let's bring this up to 112 here. And now is when things start to get spicy again. So we can see this is the 90-degree snap here. Okay, that one's technically all one intersection. It's, you know, not great, but it'll do. For now, anyway. We're probably going to end up going through and redoing that section, is my guess. Because this is pretty bad, all things considered. Like, if we look at this, we can see that highway is pretty far down. No doubt about that. So this area over here is going to need some reworking. I think that's very clear at this point. So this road would go in out over here, right like that. And then we can just connect this up over here, and let's see how we're doing on that. 129 meters. Okay, so this is a little too high up. We can definitely do something about that by taking these sections of road out, which are not really tied to anything right now. So we can bring this on out of there, get these on out of there. I do see that there's some water issues down over here. That is certainly noted, and we'll deal with that. But for now, that might just be because our water connection got broken. No, I think that we probably are not pumping enough out of our water zones. That's my going theory here. Yeah, I suspect that to be the case. So to that end, we can definitely turn this guy back on. That should solve that problem. So this radio mast needs to get turned to be on this street. There we go. And now those should get updated. There we go. And we can bring this road from here up to about here. And then that would just come straight on over to... until it joins over here, in theory. So it'd be right about here or so. Cool. From here, we can just build these streets up this way. I mean, technically, I do want these to be snapped like this. It's definitely janky feeling to have to do it like this, because we want it to snap to the geometry for the first location, and then we want it to snap only to the angle once we have this in like this. So that definitely feels a little bit awkward. No doubt about that. Where's this position? I guess here will do. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll bring this guy right on up to there. Perfect. And we can grab... this position is only mildly awkward. I'm sure it'll be okay. No, it's actually not okay at all. So we would need to grab, like, this position here. And then only using angle snapping. There we go. So then this would come up over here, like so. And then this would come up over here. So at this point, we definitely know for a fact, right, that we have some pretty significant issues on this side of the river. The question is, do we want to rebuild it and make it quote-unquote correct? Or do we want to just be like, you know, this street's going to be really janky? And that is honestly kind of what I'm leaning towards. Now, I can see here that this is not straight. So I'm going to knock back this section of highway here. That can get removed out of there. And it's not surprising that that's not straight. So that's fine for the moment. I'm going to probably remove some of these over this way as well. We're going to need to extend... this one is very not straight here. This one absolutely does need to get redone. Some amount of not being straight is okay. Like this is probably fine. This is probably fine. Yeah, we can try it something like that. So for now, what I want to do is I want to grab our highway tool. We'll move this up, and I want to snap this to be, well, right exactly where it should be here, right? And where should that be? Well, it should be, in theory anyway, right about here. And then this would come out at just the straight line. However, the question is which straight line? This straight line or this straight line? I think the answer is this straight line. So we put that there and we'll see how this goes. It's definitely at an angle. Okay. So this might not be the correct straight line. Let's try this again. Let's get that out of there. And let's see what we've got here. Okay. So we know that we want it to be, in theory, this straight line then. If that's true. Approximately. It's probably good enough. So we'll put it here. I don't think this is perfectly straight. It's very difficult, apparently, to get things perfectly straight in this game. Remarkably so. So I'm just going to put this here, put this here. Yeah, this will be fine for now. We do have this power line that's right where we want to be, and unfortunately, we can't bulldoze this power line because that's out of the city limits. So we're going to have to end up purchasing this tile, mildly awkward, and getting that out of there. Now, this power line probably shouldn't be here at all, so we'll just do that for now, and I want to grab this position and snap this to be a straight line like so. This is I mean, we can see that this is definitely not even here. But I want to point out, this road is not where the road actually should be. So I want to see what this will end up looking like, but we're going to need to delete this vertical road. Okay, that is definitely not where that goes. Let's get that out of there for now. And let's just bring this northward here. I think it's relatively straight. Obviously, it's off-center from the block as it looks right now. And the question is, what exactly is this distance? I'm not sure that this is the correct distance. Okay, let's hop in here. $119. It's not so bad. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. So we just need to get rid of this vertical street, right? We knew that that wasn't in the correct position. We were just using this street as a guide rail. So that's absolutely fine. We can get rid of that. And then we have a highway here that we can work off of. So that is absolutely great. Now that that is done, we can start connecting these guys on over. The question is, how's this going to go? The answer to that is a solid, we'll find out. So we'll just bring this guy in over here. And then that would eventually come out over here, right? So it seems kind of okay. Probably not perfect, but kind of okay. I think it's reasonable. So we'll drop this guy here, 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 connect in here, and just extend this out about there. Wonderful. Now, this road, or rather this park, is going to need to be moved. So we'll just move that straight, high pause menu. We're going to move that straight on down. And at this point, I want to grab this highway position, and we'll just extend this guy out. And we'll see how that goes. I think that's fine for now. We'll probably run into some crooked issues if we continue to extend out this direction. But for now, I think it's workable. I think that that is quite workable. So we would need to grab this position here and just extend that right on out over here. There's definitely some overlapping items here, which is unsurprising. We'll drop a pillar here, 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 and then connect that in like so. It definitely seems to be skewing a bit towards the top here. I'm going to call it good enough for now. If we want to change it later, we always can. So now we'll bring this out. And we need a pillar around here, but that's giving us invalid shape. I think that we have... Well, we need to get rid of this section of highway, I think. And then we need to grab this and set it out from here. Yeah, that'll do. So then we're going to extend this guy right on out, like so. Cool. That'll do for now. And then this highway. This highway is already pretty offset. Indeed it is. It's quite offset. So let's take these out of here for now. And just do something kind of like this. Okay. About like that. Then I'd like to bring this guy out and figure out if this is at a 90-degree angle, right? Where is this going to end up going? Right about there? When in reality, it should be about here. But that's because we have this in an incorrect position. What we can definitely do here is extend this highway northwards. And that's going to be kind of exciting on its own. We'll need this to go out about here. I don't know if that's at a decent angle. No. That is crooked off this way. I'm not surprised about that because this roundabout is a little skewed, right? We've had issues with it before. So that's not surprising. I would want to bring this out to be
a driving advisory has been issued for
parallel
the
with
area
this
due
road,
to
right?
poor road conditions. Please exercise
So about
caution
right
if you
here
must
in
drive,
theory.
and
But in
try to stay off
reality,
the
where I
streets
want it to
until
be
conditions improve.
is
This has been a local public service
in
announcement.
theory about
Local authorities are urging the public to conserve water and reduce the burden
Here?
on the city during this water shortage.
I'm
Consider
unsure that
installing
this is
a
going to be
low-flush
okay.
Toilet, cut back
We'll
on
keep an eye on
watering
it.
the lawn, and shower your
Let's see
friends whenever
here.
possible. This has been a local public service.
It might be okay.
You're listening to Second Moon Radio with
This doesn't
J.
appear to be
Thomas
too bad,
and we're
all things
purveying
considered.
some of the finest classical music on the air. Keep that dial right here.
Yeah, I think it's kind of okay.
And on to our
Remarkably.
main featured story.
I don't think it's
The commercial
perfect.
district
Definitely
is
not.
booming,
But
as
it'll
the
do.
area is
It'll
attracting
definitely
more
do.
high-end stores.
Perfect, after
Bringing the
all,
latest
is the
in
enemy of
luxury
good.
to our
So we're going to
neighborhood.
head up
You
over
can
this
now
way.
shop for designer
There we go.
shoes
And
while sipping
then
a
we
fancy
have
local
this issue,
Jarva
where
latte.
we are currently running
Or so
into
my wife
our
tells me.
university.
That's good
So
for
can we
business
move this
and
university
good for
over
the
at all?
community.
Thanks, Jim. We'll be back after.
I'd like to put it there.
Industry in the
Okay.
region is on the rise.
That should be okay.
and when business
In
is
theory.
doing well,
Let's
that
extend
floats
out
our
this
boat.
direction.
No sinking this boat, Glenda.
Yeah. I like it. That'll do. And then at this point, we are out this way. Yep. Okay, cool. So what I want to do now is I want to figure out where exactly this should end up being. It should be somewhere around here, right? But this is probably not an exact location that it should go. And then it would ultimately end up like pulling this roundabout down. That's actually kind of interesting. Okay, so let's move this guy over this way. Obviously, we're going to be causing some issues here. But this roundabout, we can see, is now correcting our positioning. Approximately correcting our positioning. So we're going to have some awkwardness over here, unless we go back and fix it. No doubt about that, but as of right now, I am not committing to going back and fixing this. We might just say it's nice and janky, and we like it that way. That might not be the worst thing. So at this point, we now have all of these highways constructed. We can go through and slap in our roundabouts. Let's see how that ends up going. So that's invalid shape, slope too steep. It's on this side, so we can take that out of there and just put this guy in and then extend this right back in. No problem. Okay, so next up is going to be a roundabout out over here. That's invalid shape, slope too steep down here now. Okay, fair enough. We'll get rid of that, and we'll just put this in and extend this back in. Honestly, these should be fine. I'm not sure why we have to do this finagling, but whatever. How about here? We're fine? We're fine? This is fine. This one is not. So what do we have going on here? Okay, it's not liking what we have over here. Let's see if just that's good enough. It's not. This is a pillar issue, I think. So let's extend this section of highway in. Snapping on, please. See, it's trying to snap to geometry here rather than the angle. So I want to snap this in just like that. Now we can see about putting in this roundabout. There we go. And then we can extend this out over here. But I want to snap that only to angle. Thank you very much. Okay, there we go. What do we have going on here? Why are there crosswalks? Are these streets? Let's turn snapping on, please. These are streets indeed. Okay, let's do that. Let's get rid of these left turns. There we go. That'll do for now. Then we can come up here and see about our roundabouts here. We're going to need a lot of on-off ramps, but that's really going to be a next episode sort of thing. So let's get rid of this area here. This was, again, a pillar issue, and we are going to extend this guy right on in here. That is a road, or that's a single lane highway. Let's make this a 4-lane, 2-way highway. That would help. There we go. Fantastic. So now we are going to drop a roundabout here, but we can't, and here, but we can't. So that is this section out this way. There we go. And we are going to extend this guy on over. Something along the lines of, that is not where I wanted that to snap to. There. That'll do. And then out over here, where was our roundabout issue? To the south? Okay. So just put that in there, no problem whatsoever, and just extend that back in. Okay. 2 more roundabouts, I think. So we'll put in one here and one here. That one works, but this one does not. It's to the south. So we'll take this out of here once again with the pillar issue. And there we go. Just extend that right on in. Perfect. That'll do for now. So that's that area gridded up a bit. We're going to need to definitely do some on-off ramps. That is a job for another episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.